Hey YouTube, Omar here, back again with my college football recap for week 4 of the season. And let's get right into it with the ranked games from this week. We start with number 24, Boise State beating BYU at home on Thursday night, 7-6, in a pretty exciting, low-scoring game, which you usually don't say. At number 1, Alabama handling Florida Atlantic 40-7. Number 2, LSU over Auburn 12-10. Number 3, Oregon dominates number 22 Arizona 49-0. Number 4, Florida State outscores number 10 Clemson 49-37. Number 5, Georgia beats Vanderbilt 48-3. Number 15, Kansas State pulls the upset on the road at number 6 Oklahoma 24-19. Number 7, South Carolina beats Missouri 31-10. Number 8, West Virginia beats Maryland 31-21. Number 11, Notre Dame wins the rivalry game against Michigan 13-6. Michigan number 18. Number 13, USC over Cal 27-9. Number 14, Florida over Kentucky 38-0. Number 16, Ohio State over UAB 29-15. Number 17, TCU over Virginia, 27-7. Number 19, UCLA upset by Oregon State, 27-20. Number 20, Louisville handles Florida International, 28-21. Number 21, Michigan State over Eastern Michigan, 23-7. Number 23, Mississippi State over South Alabama, 30-10. And number 25, Nebraska over Idaho State, 73-7. So basically, for some things we learned this week, first and foremost, and we'll go from the top in these top 25 games, we learned that Oregon has a defense. That's right. In a game that was expected to put up maybe even 100 points on the scoreboard, Oregon absolutely dominated Arizona, winning 49-0, not giving up a single point. I mean, if Oregon's going to play this sort of defense against teams with that good of offense as Arizona all year, there's no doubt in my mind that they'll be winning the national championship. But they're not going to play that defense all year, I wouldn't expect. But yeah, definitely an amazing performance by Oregon, and deserving that they moved past LSU and into the number 2 spot, even though it doesn't really matter 4 weeks into the season. What else did we learn? Florida State is for real, and Clemson is a good team. Now, Clemson lost, but they played a tough game against number 4 Florida State in Florida, and they hung in there for much of the game, but it just proved that E.J. Manuel and Florida State were just too much in the end. Also, I learned personally that James Franklin, I really do not like James Franklin. He's a quarterback from Missouri. When you watch him play, it looks like he's just standing around. Doesn't look like he's trying. I don't understand. And they got blown out by South Carolina, and I predict them to get the upset. So I'm not liking what I'm seeing. I also have to give my apologies to Notre Dame. They are a really good team this year. Monty Teo, obviously the best defensive player in the nation, in my opinion. I know Jarvis Jones and you know, you can make arguments for those guys, but Monty Teo is awesome. And I believe he had 2 picks in this game. And, you know, a good old-fashioned Notre Dame game, 13-6, you know, low scoring the whole game. And they shut down Denard Robinson like I said they wouldn't, and they got the win, and now they're 4-0. And in the top 10, I believe. Now, what else did we learn? We learned that the first 4 weeks are over. The first 4 weeks are usually the cupcake games, or at least some of them. Now we get into the serious conference schedule. So we'll see really who's who this week. So let's just list the weekly leaders. For quarterbacks, you got Nova at Rutgers. He was 25 for 35, 397 yards, and 5 touchdowns at Arkansas. Arkansas is just terrible. Then you got Jefferson, running back for Nevada, and he had 31 carries for 170 yards and 6 touchdowns at Hawaii. And then you have the receiver Hamilton, Colby Hamilton, I don't even know what it is. But for Arkansas, in the loss, he had 10 catches for 303 yards and 3 touchdowns. 303 yards receiving in a game. It was a great game for him, but unfortunately, his team sucks. So now we're going to get into the Heisman Watch, and I do have some changes, but not a new number 1. So we start with the same number 1. That's right, folks. Geno Smith. I mean, the guy didn't get the most convincing win against Maryland, but he put up 338 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. Did get negative rushing yards, negative 16, but regardless, that puts him at the season at over 1,000 yards in already, 12 touchdowns and no picks. 13 total touchdowns, no picks. He's completed 81% of his passes, and I think he's only played. I want to say he's only played 3 games, but whatever. We move right along to my number 2 candidate, and this might be a little bit surprising, but instead of EJ Manuel, which is the popular and ESPN's choice here, I go with Colin Klein. I mean, I thought he was the least for real quarterback. I didn't think he was that great. Dual threat, forget it. But I purely put him here at number 2 because of the big win that he was able to pick up on the road. He looked pretty good against Oklahoma. I mean, his stats don't jump out at you. I mean, 149 yards on the through the air, 79 on the ground, a rushing touchdown, no passing touchdown, no interception. On the season, only 758 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 picks. But his rating is really good on the season, 165.2. He has 5 rushing touchdowns on the season, so that gives him more total touchdowns than EJ Manuel. And right now, he just proved to me that he's the real deal. So right now, he's in my number 2 spot. But as you know, my things shift a lot. But I mean, the only thing that stayed this week was number 1, which is Geno Smith. So my number 3 is EJ Manuel. He had a signature win against Clemson at home. He had 380 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and also 100 on the ground. So a big game for him on the season. 905 yards, 8 touchdowns, 1 pick, and 188 yards and a touchdown on the ground. I mean, we'll see with Colin Klein in Big 12 play and EJ Manuel in ACC play if these guys can continue what they've been doing. All right, so now number 4, it was a big debate for me, and I looked at a lot of guys, and I even looked at Matt Barkley to maybe hop back up into my rankings, but in the end, I had to go with Braxton Miller. Keep the quarterbacks rolling. He's my 4th quarterback in the top 4, and he did not have a great game against UAB. He had a little bit over 200 total yards, and he had 2 rushing touchdowns, no passing touchdowns. But he's been consistent this year. He's got 7 touchdowns on the ground and through the air, but 7 each. So that's 14 total touchdowns. That's a lot of scoring. He's on a good pace, and he has a big game against Michigan State this week, which we'll get to in the college football preview. That's actually the game day game this week. But yeah, I mean, he seems like he's pretty good. And finally, yes, I did it. I had to do it. Monty Te'o is my number 5 candidate for the Heisman right now. I mean, he's a middle linebacker or inside linebacker, Notre Dame. They're 4-0. They picked up 2 straight big wins that I thought they were going to lose. And on the season, this guy has been great. I'm looking at his stats right now, and it is 36 tackles. 3 interceptions. I mean, 3 interceptions for a linebacker in 4 games is not so easy. He's been great this year. He's going to be a high draft pick. And yeah, he sneaks into my top 5 this week at number 5. So that's my college football wrap-up. If you want me to add any segments to this wrap-up, let me know. And I'll probably be bringing you one more video tonight at least, because I haven't made a video in a long time, and I had to get some things, including an MLB kind of catch-up and NFL review, including the very controversial touchdown that won the game for the Seahawks on Monday night. All right, guys. See you later.